All right, welcome. Today, we're diving into a Python function that's going to totally change the game for how you handle related data. We're talking about making your code way cleaner, smarter, and, more Pythonic.
So let's start with a problem I bet you've run into a bunch of times. You've got multiple lists, right? And the data inside them is all connected. You need to work with them together. How do you even start to tackle that?
I mean, sure, you could start writing these messy loops with index counters, but let's be honest, that's clunky and super easy to mess up. So what if I told you there's a single built-in function that does all that heavy lifting for you?
Okay, so let's really set the scene here with a classic coding puzzle. How do we deal with these parallel sets of data?
Just imagine you're working with some user data. You've got a list of names, and then another list with their high scores. And they line up, right? The first name goes with the first score, the second with the second. You get the idea.
So the old way, the before picture on the left, that's all about clunky manual index tracking. Yeah, it works, but it's a headache to read, and it's just asking for bugs. Where we want to be is on the right, writing that elegant, clean code that just flows, looping directly over pairs of data. Much better.
And that, my friends, brings us to the solution, the star of the show today, the zip function.
Honestly, just think of it like a zipper on your jacket. It takes two separate sides, or in this case, two lists, and just zips them up. It weaves them together perfectly, pairing up the elements one by one into these neat little packages we call tuples.
Okay, theory is great and all, but let's actually see this thing in action. You're going to be surprised at just how simple this is.
So let's grab those two lists we were talking about earlier, our names and scores.
All right, first up, here's our list of names. And here are the scores that go with them in the same order.
Now to put these two together, we're just going to call the zip function.
And we pass in both lists and then assign that to a variable. And that's it, seriously. Just one simple, super readable line of code.
So what did zip actually give us back? It returns the special zip object, which is something we call an iterator. Now this is a really key point. It doesn't create a whole new list in memory. That makes it incredibly efficient, especially when you're dealing with huge data sets.
So, when we loop through that iterator, what we get is a series of tuples. The first item from the first list, Alice, gets paired up with the first item from the second list, 85.
And then, same thing for the next ones. Bob and 92 get paired up. Now, you might be wondering, what happens if the lists aren't the same length? Well, zip is smart about it. It just stops as soon as the shortest list runs out. You don't get any errors, just clean, predictable behavior. It's awesome.
Okay, so that is super useful, right? But what if you have the opposite problem? You've got the zipped up data, and you need to get your original separate lists back. Well, guess what? Python has an elegant solution for that too.
Unzipping is just as simple. You actually use the zip function again, but with a little trick. You put an asterisk, that little star operator, right before your zipped data. What that star does is it unpacks all the pairs, feeding them back into zip, which then beautifully reconstructs your original lists. It's such a cool piece of Python syntax.
All right, let's start to wrap this up by talking about why this is way more than just a neat little trick. This is actually a core principle of writing good Python code.
So here's the bottom line. Using zip is what we call Pythonic. It's the standard, the most natural way to solve this kind of problem in Python. It makes your code more readable, way less buggy, and more efficient. I mean, think about it. It's the absolute best way to create a dictionary from two lists. You just wrap dict out around your zip call, and boom, you're done.
So, I'm going to leave you with a little challenge. Go look at one of your current projects. Find a place where you've got a clunky loop or where you're juggling a couple of related lists. Try replacing it with zip and just see for yourself how much cleaner and better your code becomes.